So Oregon has just now become the fifth state to make it illegal to smoke cigarettes until you reach the age of 21. 21. Why? Why not 31? Why not 71? Why 21? Because here's the thing. I don't care if the brain is still developing and tobacco will harm you a lot more than it would if you were 21. I don't care if hundreds of thousands of lives every year will be saved because they moved it from 18 to 21. That is not the issue. The issue is, when are you officially, legally an adult? When are you that? When are you an adult? Because I thought it was 18. That when you turn 18, okay, now you're intelligent enough to make decisions on your own, to be responsible for yourself. If you can join the military at the age of 18 and then go off and die for your country because you chose to do that because you're a legal consenting adult, then why the hell should the government step in and say, ah, yes, you are intelligent enough to choose whether or not you should die for your own country, but you're not intelligent enough on which products you should use. Now, you'll have to wait 3 more years for that. You'll have to wait till you're 21. Now, for those of you who say that, yeah, but I mean, you have to be 21 to drink alcohol, you have to be 65 to apply for Medicare, and you have to be at least 21 in order to just rent a car. And even then, you have to pay an underage driving fee, at least until you reach 25, so, what's the problem? Okay, so I do believe in a Medicare for all system. I do believe that we should be able to legally drink alcohol at the age of 18, and as for the whole age restriction on renting cars, well, that is a private business, so it's not as if the government itself is enforcing these rules. However, you could make the argument that this is a form of discrimination, and as long as you have a valid driver's license and fill out the proper paperwork in regards to insurance and whatnot, then a business would not have the right to refuse their customer service based on age alone, provided that the person is a legal adult. But really, this comes down to the government creating laws that restrict our freedoms based on the concept that we are not essentially mature enough to make these decisions for ourselves, even though we are the age required to be a legal adult. Now, I understand that people mature at different times throughout their lives, physically and psychologically, and that no one person is the same. But under the law, we are either a legal adult responsible for our own independent decisions, or we are not. Isn't it at least ironic that if you were busted for drinking alcohol at the age of 18, then they would charge you as an adult? Someone who is capable of making independent decisions on their own, thus legally responsible for those decisions. But they won't legally allow you to make those decisions for yourself. So basically, they're trying to have it both ways. They want to hold you legally responsible for your actions while making it illegal to take certain actions in regards to your own personal well-being. Now, while I do support complete legalization, taxation, and regulation of all drugs, I know that a lot of people support banning certain drug substances, and I think I understand where they're coming from. But by putting an age restriction on the person after they are a legal adult, I believe contradicts the whole concept of being a legal adult in the first place. This is the foundation of a nanny state. The concept that we are not capable of making these kinds of independent decisions on our own, and thus need the state to make the decisions for us. Look, maybe it differs person to person on what exactly a nanny state is. So for myself, I will say that when it comes to things like the fire department, the police department, public schools, etc., then that is us putting in our taxes for the greater good. We are not only funding our own protections, but we are investing in opportunities. But when you are a full-fledged legal adult citizen, and the government steps in to say that you are not capable of making these decisions for yourself, and you need the government to do it for you, then that is a nanny state. Look, this isn't just about regulating the businesses that sell these products, but this is about regulating the people themselves. Now, I know there are those who make the argument that certain rules and regulations on the people can actually be very good for society. And while that may or may not be true, depending on the circumstances, I would say that it's not good for a free society. Individuals need to be free to make these decisions for themselves, regardless of the cost to themselves. Well, I guess that pretty much wraps up my opinions on this topic, but the opinions I have here and now are not the end-all be-all, and while I do believe in objective truth, I do not believe that I am the arbiter of truth. I want to best understand the world for what it is, regardless of what I want it to be. But this is not an easy thing to do. I believe that one of the best ways to push myself in this direction is through criticism from my opposition. To be criticized, to be scrutinized, to be judged. Too often do we get locked up in our own ideological bubbles, and it's easy to think we're right when surrounded by people who already agree with us. But it's our opposition that allows us to build on our arguments, or at the very least to have them reevaluated. Now, in order to prevent implicit bias on my part, I have decided to open myself up to any and all forms of criticism, regardless of how negative or aggressive that criticism becomes. And that is where you come in. All of you, any of you who have an opinion that differs from my own. Tell me that I am wrong. Show me where I went wrong and why you think this to be the case, and I will take you as seriously as I can. But, of course, that does not mean that I don't like a good debate, or to play the devil's advocate. So, I will most likely stand my ground on statements that I have already made. But if your arguments are reasonable and can drive home the point that you are trying to make, then I will reconsider my position and hopefully change it if that's what reason dictates. I believe that a strong debate with an open mind is one of the best ways to move forward on all sides. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you have something to say, then say it, and I will at the very least hear you out.